if you understand, basically this whole spiritual journey is supposed to be traveled alone, but it doesn't mean that you'll be lonely. So next slide. So here comes the first question from a seeker in this chapter number 8. So provide the listening, okay? Because the listening, when you enter into listening, because it's almost like Swamiji talking directly to all of us at our being. So you need to be in the space of authentic listening, no judgment, okay? So here comes a devotee or a seeker. A devotee says when he first came to the ashram, in Bangalore, it used to be called as ashram, he felt like he was always in the high mood, very enthusiastic, very, very high. But now he feels like his self-confidence has gone, like shattered, boom. He says he's feeling vulnerable, very, very vulnerable. And he doesn't like this feeling, okay? So this is the question he posed to the Guru. So now provide your listening. I'm sure many of us has gone through that peak and trough of our mood swings in the journey of seeking, and also when you are around the master, which is very, very common. There will be moments you feel very vulnerable, when especially if he's working on your so-called your patterns, and he's exposing your inauthenticity. So that's the time you feel, you feel vulnerable. So what is Swamiji's reply to this seeker in his question? So provide listening now, because whatever he speaks he's speaking to all the seekers who also face the same problem. So here he says. So he said the self-confidence that you felt initially was just your ego. So when you are in the ashram, slowly your ego will start getting exposed. That process will hurt you. You will start feeling that what gave you confidence as a personality is being taken away from you. That is what you are feeling now. Your self-confidence will start shaking. So a person who is aware of his ego, who's aware that he's operating out of ego, will start radiating confidence and will not be afraid of losing anything. So listen, only the awareness of your ego, you will be able to radiate the confidence. He said his confidence is a natural byproduct of his awareness of himself. Understand, confidence comes when you become aware that there's this tumor which is inside you, but it's not you. Understand? You have grown this tumor due to your unconsciousness, but they are not part of you. Okay. So he said that his confidence is a natural byproduct of his awareness of himself. It is not under any illusion. That is what is important. So catch it. This is a very important, subtle click that you need to have. Because when you see people, how come these people has so much confidence? You may mistaken that they are egoistic. But they are not egoistic because they are aware that there's this dimension of them. But they know how to work on that. You understand? They don't give importance to that. So Swamiji continued with his answer to this seeker. He says, right now we identify ourselves only through several masks that we wear. The mask of the daughter, the mask of an employee, the mask of a friend, all the different masks that you put on, whoever you meet with, right? So if it is this mask that you carry or you put on which we are identifying ourselves with. So when these masks are gone, that means you drop all the masks, there will initially be pain. because suddenly you feel that you're so used, so accustomed to wearing all this mask, suddenly you're supposed to drop it. There will be pain because it has become part of you for so long, you're so identified with it. So he said, these masks are your ego. You're here to get rid of the ego. So these masks simply have to drop. You might miss the mask now, and it may hurt, but only when your true nature comes out, which is your consciousness. Only when the masks are gone, your original face is revealed to you. You only see the light within you when you drop all this superficiality. We talked about the superficiality in a few chapters before. The superficiality that you put up is from society. So this is what the job of the guru is, to make you drop all this superficiality which you acquire from the society. Understand? So he said that, will you understand the shattering of your mask is a blessing? When you drop all this ego, when you shatter all this so-called mask, it's actually the most, I would say, greatest blessing that you can ever receive from a guru, because he make you drop all this inauthenticity that you so associated with it. You forgot that you are your true nature. He say, when you when you move away from the energy field for some time, and he talked about if you move away from whether it's the temple, the ashram, for some time you feel nervous. He say, this is because there is such protection here. It always feels as if someone is watching over you. You can feel the invisible hand of existence all the time taking care of you. Whether I'm there or not, Swamiji say, in the ashram physically. The way in which I take care of you depends on you. He say, each one of you is different. Each soul is unique. So each one needs a different way of dealing and taking care of. So there's no basis to compare, because your relationship with the guru, with the source, is unique, one-on-one. That's why he say, I happen for you, right? Only you. So that is the reason why he made that statement, I happen for you. So he said, one thing, simply going away from me for some time will bring you even closer to me. See the paradox? When you try to run away, and in the end you find yourself, you only bring you closer to him. I think, how many of you can relate with that statement he just made? Raise your hand. Run away. Okay, so this is the paradox of this whole thing. He say, the less dependent you are on me, the more you are able to be without me in the physical plane. It means the physical closeness, living with around him, is no longer needed. The more you have surrendered. That means the more you have surrendered, you'll be able to live independently, even though physically you're not with him, but at the consciousness level, you're with him. Okay? You're one with him. And it is okay for you to go and come back. He said it's okay for you to go and come back. Otherwise, you will take the energy field for granted. See, a lot of people, when I was there, volunteering or attending program, I've seen like sometimes a lot of people go there and take the whatever is there for granted when they're living around the master. You take living around the master for granted. And that is why when I see that someone is taking the ashram for granted, I allow them to pack up, and if they feel like it, means go away. When you go away and hit some walls and hit some hard knots, you will crawl back again. This is what happened. So I let them go to any one of our branches, or stay wherever they wish to. That means go, send them out instead of with the master. Then they will understand the privilege of living around the master. And when their intensity increases again, that means the intensity of the seeking increases again to be around the master, I will call them back. This has to happen many, many times. It's like, yeah, many times. It will not happen only one time. It will happen many ding dong times. This is the drama we play with the master, okay? So, yeah, I mean, what he says is so true. The intensity of the seeking, increases only when then he will call you back. He basically judge your intensity, and you all must know that during the last 5 years since Swamiji left India, so a lot of us are going through the tapas, right? See, not living around the master or not having the physical closeness of the master is like we're doing some penance because we used to be able to be around him at least once a year, right? To go and visit him, be in the program, attend program, and enjoy the guru and the sweetness and initiation. But not able to receive the initiation, physical nearness is kind of like tapas we're going through. So now if we increase the intensity of our seeking to be around the master, the opening of Kailasa will happen very quickly. So all of us need to increase our intensity so that Swamiji can, see the authenticity or integrity of, our devotion, that Kailasa can happen much, much faster. Okay, he continues with answering to this seeker. He says, I let this fish out of the water for some time. So he gave an analogy of the situation. He said, I let the fish out of water for some time. Let them feel the need for the water. Let them feel the protection that the water gives. Only then they can start swimming joyfully again. So he said, you're born with your truth. That means that your consciousness. But through time, your truth is forgotten. You've forgotten who you are. Truth is the one thing that should never be forgotten. But it is also the one thing that you fellas, he said, you fellas will always forget. So that was like the Guru's way. He said, I repeat this paragraph, very, very important. He said, truth is one thing that should never be forgotten, right? We should not forget who we are. But the reality is, it is also this one thing that you fella will always forget. You forget who you are. So that's why you need a master to come back and again to remind us. Truth is the one thing that connects all of us because we're consciousness. We're connected at the consciousness level. It is only through truth that you and me are connected. You and me can never meet, but your truth and my truth can meet because we can only meet at the consciousness level. Understand? So he said, being yourself means being blissful without the aid of any external factor. Just imagine that the whole world has disappeared, wherever you so-called your whole world. Only you are there. What would you do then? You would jump around happily? You would just be in bliss, is it not? This is the way in which you should live now. The only reason why you're holding back is because you're afraid of what other people might say, may think about you, may say about you. You're so bothered about what people are thinking of all the time. That is why I'm telling you to simply feel as if there's no one except you. You're alone now. So when you're alone now, you don't really care what other think. So set aside some time every day when you are by yourself and just listen to yourself. Be in the listening of yourself. What your Atma is trying to tell you, your soul is trying to tell you. It is only because of people that you are not letting go. Because of the people around you, you're not letting go. If the people are not there, you will be free like a river. You will be flowing like a river. You would simply flow with no idea at all of where you're going, and the very feeling will give you joy. The very feeling of just flowing with existence, just flowing with, going with the flow, it just brings so much joy because you don't have any expectation, nor you have any stress whatsoever. You just flow. Wherever you land is the right place. That is the beauty of flowing, with existence. But when you have this baggage of the people, the society, expectation, you become frozen, first of all. You no longer become liquid, free. You become frozen, you're stagnant there, and you can't flow. And that's where you start feeling the pain and suffering. Correct? So there will not be any feeling of insecurity at all when you're flowing like a river. You should trust existence to take care of you. The fundamental trust that existence, whether it's in a form of guru or in a form of energy, will take care of you. Do you trust that? So that trust is fundamentally needed for that the opening to the source, to the guru. So he said, just listen to yourself. Don't be confused between what the ego is saying to you and what makes you feel blissful. So see, when you're sitting with yourself, you would see whether you're in a meditative state or unclutching state. There will be a time you will feel, oh, this is what I'm hearing some voices telling me, and which can come from the mind or your pattern, okay, from the past. And then there's a certain part that you feel deep in your heart that make you feel so happy, so blissful, like you're fulfilled. He said, you need to have the awareness to tell which part is from the ego part and which part is from the being, because the being would, when you honor what the being wants, you will feel fulfilled. You will not have the stress. But when you try to listen to your ego, your mind, this is where you feel the tension, this is where you feel the fear, all kind of things that will come. So he said, you should be able to clearly tell the difference between your feelings and your thoughts. To be able to do this, you need to become aware. How to build awareness is to start sitting with yourself. And of course, it helps when you do completion, because completion is about also sitting with yourself. So one more thing, he said, when you sit before me and listen, the mind will catch certain ideas and then you will begin to think about them. They will never reach your core. If you think about what I say, the vibration of the words will never become part of you. So he said, just listen, digest it, and forget about it completely. So this is technique he gave. Provide listening to Swamiji's whatever powerful combination or satsang he said. Whatever it is, when you're listening with, we call it Shravana, the authentic listening, you simply you will go straight into a being of which you don't need to remember. You will just come out at the right time when you needed it. It's like a weapon inside you by Guru's grace or initiation when you listen. When you feel in times of adversity, in times of confusion, this knowledge will open up and you remember, Swamiji said this in one of the satsang that I remember. And you become part of your weapon to face the challenges in front of you. Okay? So forget about it completely, he said, whatever, just digest it and forget about it. You don't have to say, yesterday satsang Swamiji said I had to memorize, like how we used to be taught in school. After every lecture, we try to memorize and make sure that it stick inside us. So much so that the moment the exam is over, we throw the notes out of the way. We never actually remember what we learned, for the 20 over years in in my education. If you ask me what I learned, I don't remember actually. So that is the kind of false learning that we were subjected to. We never enjoyed it. Whereas in this kind of learning with the Guru, he said it just provides listening. Okay? It means pure awareness. In that pure awareness, when you listen, it will just drop into your being. You don't even need to remember. You come out when you need to. Okay? especially for me as an acharya, okay, when I'm an ordained acharya for e-Gurukul and also Paramashivam level 2, I'm also constantly surprised that sometimes, like almost like as an ordained or acharya, the word that comes out of my tongue that I never know, hey, where this come from? It will be like, he's speaking through this body, and you will realize that it's just he's playing this lila. Okay, so now let me continue. This is his answer to this seeker. Is a very long one, so just please be patient with me. Be patient with Swamiji also. Say there are people who will go on writing long letters to me. See, a lot of times in the darshan time, people will write slip of requests to Swamiji and give him, and during the energy darshan, so he will read and then he will give the advice. So he said there are many people who used to write long letters to me every day, telling me about their problems. I have this problem, Swamiji. I have that problem, Swamiji. They want to show me how many problems they have. You cannot have so many problems. He said, you don't have that many problems, honestly. He said, what happened is you move around in circle some 100 times, come again and again into the same problem. Then you will think, oh God, I have so many problems. He said, honestly, you don't have so many problems. But because you circle around the same thing again and again repeatedly, you think you have a lot of problems. He said, whenever these so-called problems surface, there is no need to make such a scene of it. When there is a problem, close your eyes and see from where the problem is coming. Only when you become aware of these subtle things will you understand how you have been going around in circles for such simple things. So he just said, bring awareness of what is going on so that you catch yourself that you're going around and around in vicious cycle. The vicious cycle that you're going, which your own fabrication, but you're not aware, so you don't know how to get out. He said, no, just stop and just look inside, spend time with yourself and just see how you have created this looping by your own unconsciousness. Okay, so the main problem is we think that if we have big problems, we are big people. That is again ego, right? Ego is speaking. I've seen devotees. I tell you, I've seen a couple of years back. One lady, she will come and tell the devotees, I have so many problems, blah, 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 blah. Okay, I'm going through this with my husband, I'm going through with my kids. So she will list down her whole problems that she's facing in her life right now. So then we, of course, as Swamiji's disciple, will suggest solution, right? Life solution, whether it's do completion or blah, blah, blah. And then she say, no, you cannot help me. Nobody can help me. So, and I noticed she go around to tell different devotees in the Adinam all her problems. With this person, she will vomit the same thing. With this person, she will vomit the same thing. She kind of subtly enjoy the ego being stroked by telling people her problems, how big her problem is. So without her realizing, she's going on this ego trip of, focusing on her problem without wanting to find a solution to come out of her issue. So that is very dangerous because she's not even aware what is going on in her life. So Swamiji said, I've seen this old woman talking. One will ask about their problem and the other will try to make their own problem seems bigger than the other person. They'll go on and on arguing or go on showing off, trying to make their own problems sounds very, very big. So he said, this is just a way for the ego to feel big. Those who just kept silent, those who kept silence and they do not listen to the games of the mind will benefit the most. Understand? Just don't entertain this mind and just be silent and work on basically knowing how this game of the mind is being played within you. Only when you are aware of this, you can start to get rid of this person. That means drop this person, this so-called the tumor inside with the ego inside. Okay? Any questions so far? If Swamiji's answer to this seeker, give me a thumbs up. You are tracking with me. Okay, great. Can you relate with what he said? Are you able to relate what he said in your life based on the situation? Okay, great. So now let's go to the next slide. This is one small little Zen story. You know how this book is filled with a lot of Zen stories. Swamiji's love Zen stories because they are short and punchy. It's like they go to the punchline, boom, and you just get the truth. So here's another one. He says the story is about this one hand clapping. How can one hand clap itself? So here's the story. There was once a 12-year-old boy named Toyo. Sounds like a Japanese name, Toyo. He was the youngest monk in the temple, in the monastery, Zen temple, okay? Every morning and evening, the older disciple went to the master's room, the Zen master's room, to receive instruction from the master, right? The master gave them technique to silence their mind, okay? And Toyo was, he also wanted to go and get Zazen. Zazen is a personal guidance from the master, like the other disciple is getting, because he's so young, he's only 12 years old, right? And he doesn't get the opportunity to go and listen to face with the master to get some, personal attention or advice from him. So when he asked the master to give him a technique, the master simply said, "Wait for some time, you're too young." But Toyo continued to ask. So finally the master said, because how a child is very, very persistent, please tell me. So the master relented and he said, "All right, you can hear the sound of two hands clapping, right?" He said, "Yes." "What is the sound of one hand clapping?" "Go and find the answer. If you can find the answer, I will tell you." He said, so Toyo, trying to find the answer to this question by the Zen master, he went to his room and thought about the question. Day and night he tried to solve it. He said he could hear the music of the geisha. In the Japanese culture, there's this geisha, right? It's like the female entertainer. In the distance, so from the temple itself, there's some geisha house, right? So he can hear the music of the geisha dancing, entertaining the man. I have it, he said to himself. So the next day, he went back to the master, the Zen master, and when the Zen master asked him to show the sound of one hand clapping, so Toyo began to play the music of the geisha. So the geisha, he played the music. Next slide. So the master said, "You haven't got it at all." So disappointed, he walked out again. Toyo went back to his quiet place and meditated. Okay, what is one hand clapping? How can one hand clap? So he sat there in his quiet place. He heard the sound of the water dripping. Tuk, tuk, tuk. In a typical temple, there's a lot of nature. He's in the nature. Now I have it, he thought. The next day, he ran back to the master and asked him, when the master asked him again, "So what is your answer to my question?" He imitated the sound of the dripping water. Tuk, 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 tuk. Okay? And then here comes the truth again. The master said, "This is not the sound of one hand clapping. Try again." So he sent him away. And the poor Toyo was very disappointed. He got it wrong again. Then he went through the sigh of the wind, the screech of the owl. Nothing that Toyo demonstrated for the master in the next few weeks that the master accepted. So every time he came back, he tried a new sound, whether it's from the wind, from the owl, from some kind of nature. And so for several weeks, still he was not able to get the answer that the master wants. Okay? So finally, Toyo went on meditating. So again, he sat by himself, listening to himself. Remember what Swami told you to do? Sit with yourself and find the answer. So then one day, he finally understood. He went to the master, Zen master, and prostrated straight in front in complete silence. Then the master said, now you have it. Now you have understood the sound of one hand clapping. Got it? Just surrender. So this is the whole essence of this chapter 8. Is surrender. Now you have it. It is surrender that comes to the point of what he's trying to tell. Okay, so let's move to the next chapter 9. So now you have surrendered. Here he starts the operation, removing your tumor. When you have surrendered, means you're ready to enter into the operation room. You're ready to face your true self. He said, life with me will be ecstatic, but equally challenging as well, because my work is to cause chaos in you, not the cozy, predictable, comfort zone that you are so used to by society giving you this falsehood of security, right? He said, I will break all your social conditioning and past pattern and show you what you are really made of. So this is the operation room that we are all entering. Okay? Can you relate with that? Raise your hand.
Yes.
So are you already in the operation room? Yes. Now you know what is happening. Why we get all this lashing and all this fighting and all this struggle and suffering, what I call, and all this lows and kind of thing that you experience. Yes, that is the work of the master. And be very clear, sometimes it is not through him directly. Sometimes he will do it through another body. Okay, whether it's someone you're living with or someone you're working with. So that is the whole fascinating part about the work of the master. So let's enter into this chapter. Are you ready? The operation room. Now that you have surrendered, let's enter into the operational room. Go to the next slide. These are what these are the essence which I want you all to provide listening also. So he said, fall in tune with existence. He said, by becoming a disciple, you have made the clear decision to find yourself. When you begin to find yourself, there will be pain, for sure, because you're losing what you thought you were, your ego, your pseudo-identity. The ego is what you have known to be you for longest time since you built this body-mind. It has become you. But when you come to the master, you have actually chosen the path of dropping the ego, although you're not aware of it. Coming to the master is taking the decision to take the path to drop the ego. Understand? So now, Paul, you understand how you come to the master? Okay, let me continue. So when you are with the master, you will start falling in tune with the way of existence, that is spontaneity. Those of you who are frozen, who can't be spontaneous, that means a big part of the ego is still inside you. Spontaneity means you don't need to prepare, you are just flowing. Okay? In what appears as the chaos of the universe, there is an amazing order. Understand? You will learn to perceive that order and enjoy moving in tune with it. The whole existence is an energy body with supreme intelligence. There is no planning. If it rains, if rain comes, it comes. If lightning strikes, let it strike. Only we try to predict the rain and lightning through weather forecasts. Okay? So this is what human beings try to do all the time. Try to be smart aleck. We try to be smart aleck. Next slide. Okay. So he says living in the moment is beautiful. Living in the present moment is beautiful because now, see, because then every new moment is packed with so much freshness, so much awareness. And even if the future seems to repeat things like, it seems to be doing the same thing, we will not see it as a repetition. You will see everything as brand new, fresh. You will only take it as a fresh happening. See, the trick is to unclutch from the habit of linking things and creating conclusion. Remember, we did the unclutching meditation a few weeks ago. See, when you start unclutching from all the past association, or belief or conclusion that we try to make, from our past experience, when you start to unclutch from it, this is how we can start to see things in a brand new way. So he said the trick is to unclutch from the habit of linking things and creating conclusion. Because this is the way how our mind is trained to create conclusion. So this way is called clutching, that makes things appear as boring and repetitive. Actually, the future never repeats itself. It is just another happening. That's all. It is our mind that brands it as, oh, it's the same thing again. For example, you may see a sunset today, and you may see another sunset tomorrow as well. But it is not the same sunset you're seeing each day. But our mind says it's the same thing. The sun go up, the sun come down, the sun go up, sun come down. It's the same thing. No, it is not the same. It is continuously changing. But your mind links it to yesterday's sunset and say, oh, I've seen it already. I'm seeing it every day. There's no need to waste time seeing it again. And we miss the whole nature. We miss the whole present moment. Enjoying the sunset. No, he said, it is a new happening. Understand that. So when you understand every moment is a new happening, that is symptomatic that you are living in the present. You don't live in the past. Next slide. So he said, I tell you honestly, we are all afraid to throw ourselves into the unfolding newness of every minute. It means we are frightened of being in the moment present. We feel cozy by going on repeating the same thing every day. For example, you wake up at 7:30, read the newspaper at 8 o'clock, eat breakfast at 8:30, go to the office at 9. This is how your routine unfolds daily, for instance. Then you have lunch at 1 and you come back to the house at 7. You watch television for some time and you have your dinner and go to bed. This is how your whole routine happens on a daily basis. Then the next day will be exactly the same routine that you go through, right? The same thing. You feel comfortable doing things in a routine fashion because they are done every day and there is no question of anything new or unknown. You're just like a robot, just moving by your muscle memory. But with the new, there will be fear. When you come to have new things in your life, instantly there will be fear because everything is unknown to you. You will be doing everything for the first time. So naturally you will be unsure of whether you're going to make it or not, you're going to succeed or not, is it okay, is it something bad is going to wait for me? But in this uncertainty, there will be a thrill, kind of vitality, a new excitement that is bubbling inside you. And when you go with this kind of aliveness, of this excitement and thrill, you will become spontaneous and intelligent. This is the way to become spontaneous and intelligent, is to be in the moment and just go with the flow and be natural. So this is Next slide. So the master is everything. He's every single dimension you can ever imagine. He's like winter. He's at the same time the summer, the moon, at the same time the sun. He's delicate as like a flower, yet as hard as a rock. Only when he is like this will the disciple grow. See, when you have a master who is the extreme, whether it's like a soft as a flower or hard as a diamond, the sun and the moon are the opposite. When you have a master like this, then the disciple will grow, because he will make sure that you go through also the extremes of the roller coaster, so that you get transformed. So actually the whole problem is that you are not open to what the master is trying to do to you. See, he said, I'm trying to shatter you, and you're trying to protect yourself from that shattering. I'm trying to melt you into devotion. You're trying to freeze yourself. And I try to attract you with my fragrance, but you pull away from me. You say, no, don't come near me. I try to crush your ego, and you run away, you escape. So this is what is happening to the drama that we are playing with the master. Whatever he's trying to do to all of us, to raise us into the consciousness, we are trying to fight with him, and whether it's running away or trying to do all kinds of what I call tricks, just to escape him, just to delay our awakening. So he said, I'm trying to do something and you're trying to do the opposite. Understand? This is what is happening, the so-called guru-disciple psychodrama that we all go through. Okay, next slide. So now here comes the second question from a seeker. So he said, I feel as if I can never accept things, say a newcomer. You see it from the question this person asked. You can pretty much guess he's very new to this whole guru disciple thing. He said, I feel as if I can never accept things. Whatever I have doesn't seem like enough for me. And then when I get what I thought I wanted, even that doesn't seem like enough. Sounds familiar? So this is a complaint that this newcomer to the master. So provide listening, okay? You will not find the answer on the screen. Please provide listening now. He's talking to each one of us. If you have this same problem, okay? Like you wanted something, okay? Let's say you want to manifest something, whether it's a new job, new business, etc. Okay? And you feel that it doesn't seem to be enough for you. But when the moment you get it, okay, you get what you wanted, you manifested it. But then again, you go on this thing, it doesn't seem enough. You're again on the next trip of, or next desire. Okay, so this is the answer from the master. He says, you will have to pass through this stage for all new, comer. They say, you have to pass through this stage. By and by, you will understand the pseudo-ness of this whole thing. But in order to understand, you will have to pass through it first. You will have to go through it many times before it becomes a solid experience within you. Simply passing through it once will not become an experience. So sometimes we have to go through again and again for it to stick inside us, to have that shift. So the understanding will only touch you externally and pass. Only then it happens again and again will it become an experience in you. Then you will be able to understand the nonsense of this whole thing. He said, see, once you have fallen in tune with me, with the Guru, you begin to forget your mind. It is like when you are in love with someone, your mind becomes less important. That's why the first thing the master does is to give you Guru Bhakti, the love for the master, the devotion for the master. When you start loving the master, that's where he starts to show you how to turn that love into you, your love for self. Before that, you can never love yourself because you're full of judgment, full of pattern, self-hatred pattern, that you can't love yourself, you can't accept yourself. Only when you start loving the master, you will come to a certain level of spiritual transformation. He will turn that love to your being. Okay? So he said, it is like when you are in love with someone, your mind becomes less important. The love is what takes you over. The love is what takes you over. So once you have forgotten yourself, I will be able to enter you. It means go into your being and transform. Then there will be no hindrance, because it is the mind that is the main hindrance in the first place, right? So when your mind is already dropped, so it's easy for him to do his actual work. So now the mind has left you, so I can simply be able to transform you. And to tell you honestly, your mind leaving you has nothing to do with me. The master is just a device. The disciple has fallen so much in love with the master that the mind doesn't have a say anymore. When you don't love the master, that is where the mind becomes the boss, become the master. So either you listen to the mind as the master, or you listen to the true master. Get it? So whatever the master says, your body will simply respond. So he says that I'm here only to bring you to the state where you will not listen to the mind. But you dropping the mind is not because of me. I'm just an excuse for you to drop the mind. The mind has to be dropped. That's all. But if I tell you to drop the mind, will you be able to do it? Obviously not. Will you even be able to understand how to drop the mind? So you have to go through the drama, the so-called psychodrama that the guru has to play within you for you to eventually drop the mind. So the master is a drama, nothing more. Understand? Having a master is to have drama in your life. He just happens, he just appears to be in front of you and telling you all this. But understand that what you are seeing is just a drama with a good hero. With a good hero. So he said, so once the mind has been dropped, you will feel a great burden being lifted from you. Then you will understand the games which it has been playing on you. You will go on telling you that happiness is somewhere else. It will never help you to look within and experience it now. So the mind will always look here and there, and you will never look inside your inner space. So the mind functions out of past or the future. It can never be in the present. It can never be here and now. To be here and now is against the nature of the mind. Only when you are in the present, you will experience bliss, ananda. Bliss does not exist anywhere else except right here, now. But the mind will go on throwing you further and further away from the present. It will tell you to seek. Bliss. Bliss is within you. What the mind needs to seek it. The mind cannot be happy in the present, so it will go on projecting something else to fool you, to deceive you. So you go on projecting and postponing. So this is the way how we deceive ourselves. Somebody said that if you listen to the mind, which is your greatest enemy, most intimate enemy. So if you listen to the mind, you will be deceived at the end of your life. See, on your deathbed, then you will start seeing how the mind is going to die, because the mind and body die together, right? When you exit this body. So then you realize, oh God, you listened to the mind all your whole life, and then now you feel cheated by your own mind, and you feel like, this is the greatest fool that you make out of yourself. So understand? He said the only way to overcome the mind is to go through it. So you cannot escape, you have to go through it. You have to become aware of the games it plays. How cunning is your mind? How say that? How your mind cheat you. Only then you will understand that this fellow cannot be trusted. But you trusted this mind for all your life. So naturally you don't know, you don't suspect it. Okay? So there will be many times when you will hope and and the mind frustrates you. Like you have some hope for something to happen or for future, and the mind frustrates you. It's like you're driving in a car with the hope of getting somewhere, and the car just switch off, names die on you. Okay, the car just not able to move in the location. After some time, you understand that the car is of no use, and there are other ways of getting where you wish to go to. Then you just drop the car, and because it's not taking you anywhere, you just take other method of reaching your destination. So in the same way, your mind will again and again lead you to frustration. Soon you will realize that the mind is of no use, and with this realization, you're willing to drop it. You will drop the mind and say, yeah, don't come and disturb me. With you, I only have more suffering. This is what happened when you have that realization finally. Once you understand this, you will not be an intellectual understanding anymore, because it's experiential within you as a being. You would have experienced the trouble that the car gave you. You would have experienced the frustration of the mind. Now, it is not just something someone has told you. It's not just someone has whispered to you or shared with you. It is your own personal experience, which is so real, right? So real that you cannot deny it. It is not just something you believe in or you think through intellectually. It is something that has penetrated you as a practical and deep understanding that how you have been cheated by the mind, and you feel that, this is too painful. And once this understanding comes, you simply cannot live with the mind anymore, okay? And it has to leave you, and then there will be nothing that would cloud your inner space. The only way to really digest what Swamiji is saying is to first drop the mind. As long as the mind is there, whatever Swamiji say will only be a belief for you. Oh, this is belief, still intellectual understanding, not an experience. It will not penetrate you. Once the mind is dropped, you will see the truth for yourself. Understand? So he goes on to explain further. Once you enjoy life without without allowing the mind to play, your problems will not have any effect on you anymore. Being happy and having problems are the two completely different things. You can have problems and still be happy. Don't think that there's no problem even for people who are happy. If you know how to not allow the problems to touch you, you can remain happy. The bliss can never be taken away from you. See, just now in the previous, sharing, Swamiji shared one very important truth. He said, when you have gone through experientially to be how you feel cheated by the mind, the pain of being cheated by the mind, I tell you how I experience it, okay? See, I remember when I sat with my being, and I experienced how the pain of that missing. I do not know you understand. It is such a pain that the being just cries and cries and cries. Understand? Because the being felt this intense pain of the missing. When the moment you remember that, you will never want to miss the master again in this path. Okay? That is my personal experience. Okay, so let me just continue with his answer to this seeker, this newcomer. So he said, once you enjoy life without allowing the mind to play, your problems will not have any effect on you anymore. Being happy and having problems are two completely different things. You can have problems and still be happy. When you're happy, you become vulnerable. That is why there is a subtle fear. Subtle fear because you feel vulnerable, you feel open, you're not protected. When you're happy, you feel you become like a child, like childlike, okay, innocence. And you become afraid that, that you may be exploited, for instance. So then you become afraid that you have become vulnerable, right? But when you are miserable, you will look intellectual, knowledgeable, and solid. When you try to, right? So when you are miserable, you try to pretend that you're intellectual, you know a lot of things, solid. So to tell you honestly, Swamiji said, true intelligence comes only when there is innocence. So again, fall back to the childlike innocence. That's why I always say the children, they are smarter than us because they are in the innocent space. The childlike innocence is what makes them more intelligent. They're much more connected to the source than we are when we have this mind. Understand? So I understood this when I start working with children. When I start teaching in Gurukul, e-Gurukul, when I work with children, I understood this importance of innocence. And when I'm with them, I just can't help by being a child again. Okay? I may seem like this old, but my inner space is a child. That's why sometimes I can be quite cheeky. Okay, so you may have intellect. Intellect comes from the outside. It has to be acquired. But intelligence is what you are already. So as you begin to come in contact with yourself, that means you start to become aware of your being, you will have to face the fear. Everyone has emptiness in their very core, okay? Everyone has this emptiness at their very core. It is like a wheel, like a wheel, like a chakra, he said, a wheel. The wheel may have many spokes of the wheel, but at the very center, there is emptiness. The core of the wheel is emptiness. Same thing, the core of who we are is emptiness. It is this emptiness that holds the whole wheel together. It is this emptiness, the consciousness that holds everything together. Understand? Including the whole entire cosmos. This emptiness that holds the whole cosmos together. So, in the same way, your whole life is centered upon emptiness. That is what we are working for. This is what you're here for, to put yourself back into this emptiness, your emptiness. Being in this emptiness is the ultimate fulfillment, to feel empty. But the fear comes because you have been brought up with so many noise, so many thoughts and ideas, beliefs. Actually, unless you have fallen into your inner space, you can never experience the ultimate fulfillment that you are actually seeking. All the so-called fulfillment that comes your way will break with the smallest disappointment. A little bit of setback only, you collapse. A little bit of disappointment only, you just break. Then, how can you call this as fulfillment? Fulfillment has to be solid, right? Fulfillment is a feeling of complete contentment, no matter what the situation is, no matter what is happening in the external world. whether there's war, whether there's accident, whatever is, some kind of pandemic happening. But inside, when you feel fulfilled, this complete contentment, regardless of whatever is happening outside. And this feeling can only happen when you have fallen into the emptiness, the consciousness. Understand? Give me a thumbs up if you are tracking with Swamiji. Okay, great. So that's why he said, fall back to your emptiness. He said, when you are in the deep sleep, you enter into this emptiness. Every day you fall into this emptiness. It's just that you're not aware. So don't be afraid. You are so used to doing it every day, every time you fell asleep. This is the way you are so fresh after the dreamless sleep, right? When you fall into the deep sleep state. So you touch your emptiness and it rejuvenates you. You feel refreshed, rejuvenated, revitalized. This is because in this emptiness there's no name or identity. You just lose your identity, you forget who you are, it simply is. That's all. But the moment you wake up, you are no longer in that emptiness. In fact, you have no idea what happened. It is not like the emptiness has left you. No, it did not. It is still inside you, but you are not aware of it while you're experiencing it. So when you are asleep, you are unaware. If you are aware, you will not have come out of this emptiness. You will have understood its depth, and the moment you understand it, you will fall into its depths again and again. So he said the other thing stopping you from knowing the depth of who you are, yourself, is fear. Fear is the biggest hindrance to fall into this emptiness. You have the fear of losing your so-called, your little self. This is why you're afraid of entering your own depths. You're afraid of your unknown. This fear will be there until you enter it. If you simply forget the fear and jump, the fear will simply disappear. Fear is against the nature of emptiness. Either you have emptiness or fear. You have to choose. Okay? They cannot coexist together. Jumping into emptiness means transforming the fear into courage. Only with the courage you will jump into the emptiness. There's nothing in emptiness. It's just empty. So once you drop the fear and consciously enter, you will be able to stay in its depth. Do not suppress your fear and try to act as if you are very strong. So he said, don't pretend. Pretension will not get you anywhere. If you do this, you will only be pseudo. Pseudo means fake, right? Faking it is not the thing. So because underneath this so-called strength, there is fear. When you fake it, there is fear because you will fear that someone will expose you one day. Simply accept that you are afraid, carry on, accept your fear and continue anyhow. Somehow you will be able to be transformed when the time comes to drop the fear, okay? You see, accepting your fear and moving on is different from suppressing it. They're different. Swamiji said, any suppression leads to perversion. So don't suppress. Allow it to be accepted, that you acknowledge that you have this fear and then move on. Okay? So when you suppress, you act as if there's no fear and you pretend. You simply put it on a nice show or nice mask to prove that you're a very, very strong person. Hey, nothing can touch me, okay? You try to pretend in front of people. Your outer image is to show that you're not fearful. But when you accept your fear, that means you come to terms with this fear within you and move towards the emptiness. You're aware of your fear and you will continue and reach the emptiness. Wow, this is so cool. This is so so enlightening. I must highlight this. So he said, when you accept, you have the clear understanding that the master is pushing you towards yourself. Okay, so see, I every morning after yoga, I enjoy sitting with myself, of course, sitting with Swamiji also. See, of course, there's something that I recognize within me that, whether it's fear or resistance, okay? Whether it's fear or the unknown of me or resisting the master's operation on me, like something he asked me to do and I'm resisting. For instance, you all go through that on and off, right? Someone tells you to do, which is coming from the master, but and you're resisting it. See, when you sit with yourself and you acknowledge that acknowledgement and acceptance will help you to come to some level of understanding, rather than pretending not to acknowledge this fear in you or resistance in you. Understand? When I acknowledge certain part of me, when I'm aware, I can fall into the unclutched space. It means I can fall into the emptiness easily, rather than fighting within me. So that is very important. Okay? So now let's look at the third question from the seeker. So this one is quite short, so just provide listening. He said, an onlooker, it means not serious seeker, he's just onlooker, tells Swamiji that he is not able to comprehend what Swamiji is saying. It tells him that he has become confused. Obviously, onlooker only, surely confused. So how to remove the confusion? Here comes the answer from the master. He said, if life is meant to be logical, there will be only man or only woman. There will be only cold or only hot, but they are both. They are always opposite. There is always a yin and yang, right? Sun and the moon, a male and a female, the opposite. So when there is duality, there is bound to be confusion. Only when you have absorbed all confusion and all the opposite will oneness happen in you. I'm not telling you to drop all confusion. I'm telling you to understand and use them. For example, love and hate are two emotions in you. You hate someone or you love someone, right? You have that opposite. Now you have used both of them, and a new emotion has arisen in you, which is compassion. When you know both extreme, a new emotion open up, which is compassion. Compassion is both of these and something more, because you're able to see the opposite of love and the hate. You have the compassion. You say, this is what I go on doing. I create bridges within you between the opposite. So the master's job is to create the bridges for you to see the opposite. And this is what causes the confusion. Your mind's nature is to divide. Your mind's always dissect, try to cut. And so you are perfectly all right with all these opposite. But the nature of life is oneness, Advaita. So I'm telling you to find the bridge that will connect. Find that bridge that bring you back to the oneness, the wholeness. So the bridges are already there. You just have to look within. You can find it. And I will go on creating the opposite in you. If you are confused, I will make you clear again. The master created the opposite, and he is also creating the clarity. See how he's doing the drama. If you are clear, I will make you confused. I'll go on putting you in confusion. Only when you are utterly confused, the mind will drop, and suddenly there will be no more confusion, only clarity. So confusion is a part of life, understand? If you are not confused, you are just dull, like a buffalo. And what will you do with certainty? So confusion is much more valuable. It means you're alive. It means you're growing. If you're confused, you find solution. you try to come out of this confusion, which means you are actively finding for answer, right? For some solution to get out of this confusion. But you never want confusion. You only want certainty, which is what society wants you to believe. You want certainty because you feel secure. You want security all the time. You need to feel secure. But I tell you, instead of running away from confusion, you should have the clear understanding that the confusion will make you clearer. Understand? Only by being confused, clarity dawns. So the moment I see you settling, it means you're settling from the confusion to clarity, I will just shake the earth underneath you again, the earth that you, so-called the earth that you're standing on. So much you again shake, and then you again fall down and become frustrated and confused again. So the nature of the mind is to settle, but life has to move. Understand? So the mind is like a stagnant pool of water, right? But life is like a river. It keeps flowing, flowing, flowing like a Ganga, river Ganga. Life is full of movement. Movement is not static, but your mind wants to be still, wants to feel the stagnation. So this is the reason why there is so much of struggle within you. Your mind wants to remain stagnant, but life has to move. So as of now, you're living for the mind, and so you want to become stagnant. But your inherent nature is to flow with life. Your consciousness wants to flow with life. So to be in the continuous movement. This is the nature of the consciousness, your being. So let you be clear. The confusion will be there once you come into the contact with the master, guru. The confusion will come. This is because the new will start happening, but the old will still be there. It will be difficult to decide whether to let the new take over or to continue with the old. The new will be chaos, the old is order. But there is a charm in the chaos, a pull, and you try to run away, but you end up running towards it. So that is the paradox. So let the confusion be there. So don't worry about confusion. Let it be there. Do not run away from it either. Become aware. Once you have, totally lost yourself in the confusion, you will simply drop the mind. So the confusion is like a bridge for you to drop the mind. Understand? So don't be afraid of the confusion. Now I understand why the Sangha has so much confusion. Okay, got it now. Confusion is part of the process. Understand? Confusion is part of the process. No wonder I'm always confused. Why like this? Why this person is telling me this? Why that person is telling me? I'm so confused. Okay. So it is part of the work which is done once you have come to the master. The transformation can happen only after all your old concept and ideology leave you. All these ideology are like a mesh for me to enter. Unless this mesh gives way, I cannot enter. Like a mesh, it's like stopping you to, the guru from entering. So when confusion becomes so tight and complex that it has to break, when this happens, then the guru can enter. I can enter, he said. Okay. I hope you understand his very, very powerful cognition he's given to these three seekers, which basically reflects sometimes, our situation, our mindset also. Let's go to the next slide. We come to the end of this chapter. So I want to ask if there's any question or clarity you need to have. I see there's something on the chat. Let me just see, what is this? Someone asked a question. Okay, glad we finally make it to the operating theatre. Oh, okay. It's a blessing of the guru to make you come to the operating theatre, okay? Many people don't even get to the operating theatre and they disappear. But if you have come to the operating theatre, it means you travel far. Okay, any questions?
So far, I give some time for questions. Everyone is clear? Sorry about the fact that it was a long session.
Because it was really important for us to have all these powerful clicks and understanding the work of the master. Okay, if there's no question, let's continue and finish up the next few slides. Okay. Mandadata, you want to project back the slide? Yes. Okay, so once again, now that I want to announce the new season of Paramashivam, which is happening this Saturday. We ended on 22nd as a last session, so now we are going to start the new season on this Saturday, which is about a week since the last season. So I encouraged you, all of you, to join this session because this season leads up to the grand celebration of Guru Purnima, which is happening on the 21st of July. Okay, so take your time to immerse yourself in this season, because we're also going to start the Jiva Mukti Vatram on the 1st of July. See, always before Guru Purnima, all the disciples take 21 days of vow. Vatram means vow, to purify our body and mind to receive the initiation by the Guru on 21st of July. On the Guru Purnima, he will give the initiation. So before we're ready, we need to prepare ourselves. Like what he said, in these 2 chapters, how to come out of the mind, how to basically, work with all your confusion and all that stuff. So when you're going through all this confusion, please understand you're already in the operating room. So this 21 day of Jiva Mukti Vatram is one powerful way to allow the spiritual practices, being in his reading space, help to burn away all those patterns and all the incompletion, as well as helping you to drop the mind. So take this 21 day of the Jiva Mukti Vatram and join whenever you can for the new season of Paramashivam. Take it as like a tapas, take it as a 21 day polishing, cleaning up of your inner space. Okay, next slide. So I thank you all for your participation. So in next week, we're going to start the next chapter, Uncover Yourself. Uncover your true self. So he's going to review what is your true self, how to uncover yourself. Okay, so do come back for the next chapter, next session, next week. And if there's no further question, no question? No, okay. So with that, let me just conclude with the Purna mantra. So Anandata, you captured a photograph of this screenshot, okay. Sit with the back straight, give yourself a bow from within in deep gratitude to Swamiji for this enlightening 2 chapters. I thoroughly enjoyed myself. I hope you guys also enjoyed alongside with me. So let's conclude now with the Purna mantra. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Tat Sat Sauvam Bhagavan Nithyananda Paramashivam Pauruka Paramastu Om Nithyanandam. So one thing I wanted to sort of highlight, when you're going through the listening in today's session, if you find that a certain thing that is very much what you're stuck now, please write it down and start sitting with yourself and so that you can find the answer, and through the confusion you find the answer, find the